Hello and welcome back to the Google Workspace Update podcast from Strawberry 7. My name is Adam, and unfortunately my co-host Adam isn't joining us again this week. We've had another scheduling conflict, I'm afraid, so you're just stuck with me. We do try to keep them to a minimum, but they do happen sometimes. We're here to bring you all of the latest updates in the world of Google Workspace. This podcast is available in audio format from your regular podcast provider, and also in video format on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Strawberry7. Coming up on the show today, we have 10 updates for you today, so I'll do my best to get through all of these, listeners. We have updates to Google Slides, Google Sheets, Google Chat, Google Drive, another one to Google Drive, Google Chat, Google Vault, Google Meet, Google Workspace, and finally Google Classroom. Always nice to see a Google Classroom update in there. As always, there is a link in the podcast or video description to the document that we read from. This document contains some more detailed information, some relevant links, some lovely graphics, and even some moving graphics showing you these features in action. So let's get to it, and on with the show. First up, we have an update to Google Slides. Create shareable video presentations in Google Slides. Google is introducing slide recordings, a new Google Slides feature that lets you easily record yourself presenting and then share the presentation with others to view when it works for them. From webinars to employee training to lessons for your classroom, Slides recording helps you to effortlessly record visual and engaging presentations without ever leaving slides. You can use your computer's built-in or external camera and microphone hardware to add your voice and webcam feed to your recording. Wow, this is awesome. I know that any teachers listening will be rejoicing in the fact that you will be able to do this. There is a great moving graphic showing this feature in action, and it really shows how this sort of feature works. Very, very nice interface that Google have created here. Again, all of their systems sort of joining up together. I think this looks like it's using Meet recording in the background. The interface looks very, very similar, but it's all sort of within Slides. I know that teachers do this all the time, especially through the pandemic. They would go onto Google Meet and record on Google Meet and then present their screen and present a slide and kind of talk through it and things like that. So the fact that you can do this all within Google Slides now is going to be amazing. So for anybody listening, just bear in mind that you will have to do this within Google Slides, so have your presentation within Google Slides. However, if you've made your presentation in PowerPoint, just keep in mind that you can put that onto Google Drive, convert it to Google Slides, and then you'll be able to use this feature. So it will work with PowerPoint as well. But this is a really, really great feature. Outside of teachers, I can imagine a lot of other people really wanting to make use of this. I'm a big fan of tuition through video, and having the ability to create a presentation and then record that and talk through it. Really, really nice. Okay, they're getting started on here for admins. No admin control for this feature, so nice and easy. For the end users, you can visit the Help Center to learn more about recording a slideshow, finding your recording, sharing a recording, and removing a recording, and more. Adam has added a link in for anybody who wants to look at that, so please do check out the document. Please note that recording creation is only accessible using Google Chrome on your desktop. Recordings cannot be created on mobile devices and are not accessible from the Slides mobile app. However, you can find and view your recordings using the Drive mobile app, so still the ability to look at it on mobile, you just have to use the Drive app. Rollout pace here, the rapid release domains, gradual rollout, which is up to 15 days for feature visibility, started on November the 28th, 2023, so that's good. And scheduled release domains, gradual rollout, again up to 15 days visibility, starting on January the 2nd, 2024. So a little bit of a sort of delay for scheduled release domains, but Google probably wants to do some testing on that. Availability here, this is going to be available to Google Workspace Business Standard, Business Plus, Enterprise Starter, Enterprise Essentials, Enterprise Essentials Plus, Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, and Education Plus. So if you are a teacher listening, unfortunately only available at that Education Plus tier, which is the highest tier. However, again, if you're any MSPs listening and you have schools who are either on that Education Plus or thinking about going to Education Plus, either a great feature to point out to them if they're already on it, or a feature to point out to them if they're thinking about going over to that. Okay, next up we have an update to Google Sheets, the next evolution of automated data entry in Google Sheets. Ooh, sounds exciting. Starting today, enhanced Smart Fill in Google Sheets is available for customers with the Duet AI for Google Workspace Enterprise add-on. This builds upon Smart Fill in Google Sheets, a feature introduced to Google Sheets in 2022 that detects patterns between columns and suggests data for remaining cells using Google's Knowledge Graph. More recently, Google launched Help Me Organize in Sheets, a Duet AI feature that gives you a running start for creating highly organized plans and trackers. As previously announced, offering enhanced Smart Fill will continue Google's efforts to help users spend less time on manual data organization and analysis in Sheets. This capability uses AI to detect if there are relationships between cell contents. If a relationship exists, Sheets can make contextual suggestions in the form of remaining values that you can accept. Once you click to accept the suggested values, Sheets will automatically fill them. Enhanced Smart Fill can recognize and fill patterns like sentiment classification, combining and generating text, extracting specific text, formatting addresses, structuring phone numbers and emails, condensing text, and more. For example, a restaurant could organise their reviews and rating data more easily with Enhanced Smart Fill. Rather than manually typing in data, Sheets can detect a pattern in the existing ratings and reviews content and suggest values for the remaining cells. Simply review the suggestions and accept them in one click using Enhanced Smart Fill. Sales teams could also use Enhanced Smart Fill to more easily organise next steps in a sales cycle. Instead of manually extracting next steps from a column of unformatted notes, you can accept suggested next steps that Sheets will provide for you based on the account information listed in other columns. There's another example here. Or let's say you hosted a fundraiser and you want to customize thank you notes for donors based on their donation type. Rather than writing the notes one by one, you could quickly see a list of suggested thank you messages that Sheets generates based on the pattern of your first set of messages. Simply click to accept the suggested values so that you can quickly and effortlessly thank your donors. And just to let you know, there are moving graphics showing all of those examples in action, and it's pretty amazing how it's extracting some of this information and how Duet AI is working. For any of you who aren't familiar with Duet AI, it's a feature that Google are bringing in or have brought in that's a sort of add-on that you can get to Google Workspace. It's not like you get it on a certain tier, you sort of have to get it as a particular add-on, and it does all sorts of incredible things. We had it on our previous podcast episode and we talked about it for most of the podcast episode actually, and it does have some really powerful features. One of the most powerful being in slides. You can actually just type in what you want as an image in terms of text and it will just generate the image for you. Pretty amazing. But this is another really, really cool feature that you can use in here, and the sort of examples that they've given here in the moving graphics are really cool. Enhanced Smart Fill can make data entry and analysis simple. There is a link here to get started with Duet AI in your Google Workspace for Enterprise sort of product as well. So there's a little bit of more information here. This feature will only appear if relationships between data points exist within your spreadsheet. So that's basically just saying that there's got to be some kind of common factor in all of the different data entry points here. It can't just be a whole load of sort of random stuff. So in the examples that they've given, they're all ratings or they're all donations. There has to be some sort of commonality there. I think that's what it's saying in that part. So the getting started here for admins, this feature will be on by default, but there is no admin control for this feature. You can visit the Help Center to learn more about Duet AI for Google Workspace Enterprise. For the end user, this feature will be on by default and only appears when Sheets has a suggestion to make. The rollout pace here, this feature is available now for customers who have Duet AI for Workspace Enterprise add-ons. So if you've got that, then great. We did point this out last time as well, but it's worth mentioning again. It says Google Workspace Enterprise add-on, or Duet AI for Google Workspace Enterprise. This is a bit confusing, and I wish Google would change the terminology here because it seems to indicate that you need Google Workspace Enterprise to have Duet AI. You don't, according to the last announcement that we did on Duet AI. It's just the whole thing is called Duet AI for Google Workspace Enterprise. I wouldn't be surprised if Google changes the terminology in their naming there, because it is a bit confusing. You don't need Google Workspace Enterprise to have Duet AI as available to other tiers, unless the information has changed from the last announcement that we had from Google. So that the availability here as well is if you have Duet AI, then you've basically got this feature. Very exciting feature to see there, and a very good use of that Duet AI system. I love Smart Fill, and seeing this enhanced with AI makes a lot of sense, and I think will be very useful for a lot of people out there. Okay, up next we've got Google Chat, expanding message bubbles in Google Chat to iOS devices. Oh, it sounds good. In September, Google introduced message bubbles on Google Chat on the web and Android, enabling users to more efficiently differentiate incoming versus outgoing messages in Chat Stream. Today, we're excited to announce the expansion of message bubbles to iOS devices. So, on your tablet, each incoming message will have an independent message bubble aligned to one side with a solid colour background. Each outgoing message will have an independent message bubble aligned to the other side with a different colour background. So it sounds quite minor, but it's basically bringing it in line with how messaging facilities work on other devices. We use iOS devices here at Strawberry 7, and this is going to be great. I'm going to really benefit from having this look more like my other messaging platforms on my iOS device, because it doesn't at the moment. So this is going to be great for me. So getting started here, admins and end users, no action is required. You'll automatically see this update in your web and mobile experience over the next several days. Rollout pace here, rapid and scheduled release. It's a gradual rollout, so 15-day visibility for this feature, or up to 15 days visibility for this feature, starting on November the 28th, 2023, and this is going to be available for all Google Workspace customers, including those with a personal Google account. Okay, next up we've got a update to Google Drive. Updates to the Google Drive scanner on Android and iOS devices. For years, users have had the ability to scan physical documents such as a receipt or passport using Google Drive app on Android devices. And earlier this year, we added additional functionality to recommend relevant title suggestions for scanned documents by leveraging machine learning. Today, Google are announcing additional enhancements to the Drive scanner on Android devices, which now powers the Google Pixel camera and includes improvements to the scanner experience when capturing content. Specifically, you'll notice automatic capture to help you get the best scan quickly, camera viewfinder that helps you position your document to the highest quality of scan, the option to import from your camera roll, and a faster way to initiate the scan with a new scanner button. So it sounds like a bit of a quality of life improvement update here, and a bit of an update to the interface. There's a nice moving graphic to go with this as well, so if you're an Android phone user and you use this feature, then there's a nice moving graphic here showing you what it looks like. Again, I think they've kind of brought this in line with the way that most scanner apps or scanner features in other apps work. Google is also expanding the Google Drive scanner and title suggestion features to iOS devices. Now, when using your iOS or tablet, you can easily scan and digitally organise physical documents, crop them if needed, and receive relevant title suggestions based on machine learning. So great that they've put iOS in there as well. Any iOS users, including us, will be able to benefit from that. So that's really nice to see. Getting started here, admins, there is no admin control for this feature. For the end users, open the Drive app on your Android device, scan a document via the camera icon, or scan a document via the scan button under the plus icon. Access, adjust, and automatic cropping, scan multiple pages in a session if needed, apply filters, and save to Drive. Open the Drive app on your iOS device, scan a document via the camera icon, or scan a document via the scan button under the plus icon, scan multiple pages in a session if needed, click on scan to apply filters or crop as needed, and then save to Drive. Note, title suggestions are only available in the US. That's interesting. Visit the Help Centre to learn more about scanning documents within Google Drive, and Adam has added a lovely link in there for that. Rollout pace. If you're on iOS, rapid and scheduled release domains will see a full rollout with 1 to 3 days feature visibility starting on November the 28th, 2023, so that should be available now. Android, the feature is available right now. Availability is to all Google Workspace customers and users with a personal Google account, so everybody can benefit from that, which is really nice. Okay, next up we've got Google Drive, introducing a new homepage view in Google Drive. Over the years, Google has added features to Google Drive that help you more efficiently find files and folders. In October, they launched a new view in Google Drive that shows all pending access requests, recent comments, and approvals for files to help you quickly see recent activity and take action all in one place. Today, Google is excited to announce and introduce the latest series of changes that accelerate users' productivity across new views in Drive. A new streamlined homepage for Drive called Home makes it easier and faster for you to find files that matter the most. Specifically, you'll notice personalized file and folder suggestions with machine learning algorithms that can help you get started quickly. These suggestions utilize a variety of signals, such as what files or folders you've recently opened, shared, or edited, or what documents are attached to upcoming calendar events. Filter chips to narrow down your search and find relevant files and folders faster across Drive, making it easy to find suggested files by type, people, modified date, or the location. A more modern design in line with Google's Material Design 3 guidelines that helps you navigate across Drive much more efficiently. There again is a lovely moving graphic in here showing this in action. The new Google Drive homepage will make it easier and faster for you to find the files that you need to collaborate with others. There's a bit more here. When you go to drive.google.com, instead of landing in My Drive, you will now be directed to Home. If you'd like to set your default to My Drive, click on the Change to My Drive option in the banner on Home, and there's a graphic showing you what that looks like and how you can click on that. So I think this is brilliant. Anything that sort of brings this more in line is really, really nice and sort of brings those relevant things to the foreground. And having this home area, it's interesting because they've done a very similar thing in chat where they've created a home area, and we talked about that on one of our previous podcasts. Sort of home area where you're able to quickly access the things that you need. The moving graphic here shows this in action. Just looks really, really nice layout. Google have done a very nice job with this, and I think the sort of file chips and these personal suggestions are going to really, really help people find what they need. I'm a little bit old school. I kind of go into the folder structure and I always look for what I need, but I know that a lot of other people benefit from having this guided experience of it suggesting things and showing recents. So I think this will be very, very helpful for a lot of folks out there. Getting started here, there is no admin control for this feature. End users, this feature will be on by default and can be opted out by the user. If a user chooses to opt out, their default page will be My Drive. To opt out, go to My Drive and click the Change to My Drive option in the banner, which is what we mentioned earlier. Rollout pace here, the rapid release domains extended rollout, so potentially longer than 15 days, starting on November the 28th. Everything's starting on November the 28th with these updates. The scheduled release domains extended rollout, which is potentially longer than 15 days again, starting on January the 11th, 2024. So quite a wait for that. Clearly Google is shutting down over Christmas, like most, I'm sure. Availability available to all Google Workspace customers and users with a personal Google account. Just a note here, the Drive Activity View is available to Google Workspace customers only. So if you're a personal customer, you don't get the Drive Activity View. Okay, next up, we've got an update to Google Chat, introducing a new mobile experience for Google Chat. Google recently announced a streamlined user experience in Google Chat to help you find what you need much faster. Oh, we just spoke about that with the home area, including new features like home and mentions. Starting today, Google is excited to announce the introduction of a new bottom navigation bar within the Chat app on Android and iOS devices to help you easily find these features on mobile. You will now have easy access to the following views. Home helps you stay on top of all of your conversations in one unified view with a filter that allows you to drill down to unread messages. Direct messages. See a compact list of all of your one-to-one and group messages, including pinned conversations at the top of your list. Spaces. See a compact list of all of your spaces, including pinned conversations at the top of the list. Mentions helps you easily find messages from conversations and spaces where you've been mentioned. So this is, again, great to see because they're just bringing that experience that we talked about on Google Chat on the web and bringing that sort of forward. And this new user experience that we've seen on the web, bringing that to Android and iOS devices. So I really like this. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing this on my iOS device. We use Google Chat a lot in Strawberry 7, and we do use it on our mobile devices as well. So I'm sure the guys will also really like to see this interface, and it will just make it a lot easier to kind of navigate around. Now, for us, we are a small company, but if you're a big company and you've got a lot of different spaces, a lot of mentions going on, a lot of chats, this is going to be a godsend to be able to see that in one place, see that very easily, see that through a home space, and to be able to have that same experience that you've got on the web on your mobile devices. And really nice that Google are doing this on Android and iOS at the same time. So there's a little bit more information about that here. So getting started, admins and end users, there's no action required. You'll automatically see these updates on your mobile device over the next few weeks. But you can visit the Help Center if you want to learn more about how to use Google Chat and how to mention someone else in a message. There's a couple of links Adam's very kindly added in there. Rollout pace, Android and iOS, rapid release and scheduled release domains, gradual rollout, so up to 15 days for feature visibility, starting on November the 29th, 2023. They just moved it by a day to make it a little bit more interesting. So availability here, available to all Google Workspace customers and users with a personal Google account. So very nice to see right across the board there. Okay, next up, we've got an update to Google Vault. Google Vault now supports Google Calendar. Google Vault now supports Calendar, which means customers can take the following actions around calendar data. Manage retention with default and custom rules. Search and preview events with a number of filters such as keyword, search across description, title, guest, location, invite response status, which can be used to quickly refine your search. Search for historical versions of events, which allows Vault admins to search and export events as they appeared on a specific date. That's a pretty cool feature. Export data in multiple formats, including ICS, PST, MSFT format, and CSE decryptable formats. Apply holds to prevent purging of data which must be retained for legal purposes. Again, really useful there for compliance. Vault is an information governance and e-discovery tool for Google Workspace. Now customers' calendar events can be retained, held, searched and exported. This integration makes it easier for customers to comply with regional and legal mandates surrounding calendar data from a central tool. Vault's integration with Calendar rounds out support for critical workspace apps such as Gmail, Drive, Docs, Sheets, Slides, Chat, and Meet, providing customers with a consistent experience across all products that are managed within Vault. So getting started here, admins can visit Help Center to learn more about using Vault to search for Google Calendar, placing Google Calendar data on hold, and retaining Google Calendar data within Vault. Rollout pace here, rapid and scheduled release, gradual rollout up to 15 days visibility starting on November the 29th, and the updates for the API rollout will immediately follow the Vault user interface updates. Availability is available to Google Workspace Business Plus, Enterprise Essentials Plus, Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, Education Standard, Education Plus customers, or customers with the Vault add-on license. Okay, next up we've got Google Meet. More insights to help admins troubleshoot Google Meet hardware issues. So important here, we're talking about Google Meet hardware. I know Adam always likes to clarify that, so I will do the same. We're talking about Google Meet hardware here. In 2022, Google introduced several improvements for managing Google Meet hardware devices. These improvements included surfacing additional information about device issues, such as a description of the issue, when the issue was detected, and more. Today, we're taking these improvements one step further by providing admins with even more data points. Specifically, admins will now be able to see the following types of usage data. So, for an admin out there with Google Meet hardware, listen up. Issues. Device health problems that are detected and persist over time. This is existing functionality and will continue to include the following types. Device offline, missing microphone, missing speaker, missing camera, missing controller, missing display, missing default microphone, missing default speaker, missing default camera, missing default whiteboard camera. Activities, records of how a hardware device is being used at any given time, including Meet call, Zoom call, WebEx call, bring your own device mode, local present, whiteboard camera present, peripheral firmware update. Events, any notable point in time occurrence that can be useful for admins looking to troubleshoot issues, including operating system update, feedback filed, and restart. The health and functionality of your Meet hardware fleet is critical for connection and collaboration. As such, it's important that admins have the information and context they need to troubleshoot issues across a fleet. I completely agree, Google. With these additional data points, admins can now have greater insight and context into issues, allowing them to troubleshoot and resolve them further. Additional details here: Google Meet hardware devices that do not run Chrome OS, such as Poly X30, 50 and 70, will only support activity data for Meet calls at this time. Now, we don't use Google Meet hardware devices ourselves. We don't have them in any of our clients, and we don't use them internally. But for anybody who's using these Google Meet hardware devices, having more insight as an admin is only a good thing, right? I mean, we're admins ourselves. Like we said before, we like anything that benefits admins, helps admins out in their day-to-day role, because the more we can get insight as admins, the more we can help our users and help deliver sort of relevant support. So if you are a user or a admin with Google Meet hardware devices, this is a great update for you, I think. So the getting started here, admins, you can navigate to this page from Admin Console, Google Meet hardware, devices, then the device name, and then device history. You can also visit Help Center to learn more about understanding device usage in your organization. There's a link there for that Adam's added. For the end users, there is no end user impact or action required. Rollout pace, we've got rapid and scheduled release domains, gradual rollout up to 15-day feature visibility starting on December the 6th, 2023. Availability is going to be available to all Google Workspace customers, but of course with a Google Meet hardware device, so that makes a lot of sense. Just remember that mention earlier about that restriction around the Poly X30, 50 and 70 devices. So up next, we've got an update to Google Workspace. Monitor insider risk of Google Workspace data with Chronicle. Ooh, sounds fancy. Admins can now more seamlessly integrate their Google Workspace data with Chronicle. This is Google's cloud-native security operations platform to quickly detect, investigate, and take action on risky activities and threats. Admins can now leverage reduced time spent syncing data from Workspace to Chronicle, as well as Chronicle's curated, pre-configured out-of-the-box detections. Now, there's some nice graphics in here showing what this looks like. Looks very, very fancy. Not something that we've used personally ourselves, but this does look really, really nice. As an admin, you can already use the Alert Center to view notifications and take actions on potential issues within your domain. I don't know if any of you listeners have used that, but I find the Alert Center really, really useful actually for that. Now you can take this a step further by using Chronicle, leveraging its rich risk management capabilities and recommendations. So I think what they're saying here is Chronicle is something else that's just going to sort of enhance that and give you even more. Chronicle can help detect and investigate potential threats at every level of sophistication by monitoring your data in real time. Data insights are available at your fingertips with rich context and visualization, along with industry best recommendations helping you to better make decisions faster. Further, you can deploy Chronicle's out-of-the-box use cases, helping to cut down on time spent building rules and playbooks. That sounds very, very handy. You can also build and update repeatable playbooks and use a fully fledged security orchestration, automation, and response capabilities, or SOAR. Like I said, we don't use Chronicle ourselves, but this looks really, really cool. And I've used some other security sort of systems that use a lot of pre-configured things to help admins, as it says there about deploying their out-of-the-box use cases. I find that so useful as an admin. You don't want to build everything from scratch necessarily. Most of the time you can just put out the sort of standard system and then just customize it a little bit. So I think that's really, really useful. But anything that helps you detect threats in real time and pushes through notifications, that's one of the key things here. And I don't know, this doesn't talk too much about pushing through, but I would imagine that it's very easy to kind of do that through either API or monitoring, and to be able to sort of put that into, the Alert Center allows you to get email notifications or sort of get reports out anyway. So I should imagine that it's quite easy to get that push through from Chronicle, and anything that's doing that in real time is just going to be great as an admin, because you need to know when those threats are sort of happening. It's no good knowing about it in a week's time, right? So getting started here for admins, you can visit Help Center to learn more about exporting logs to Chronicle to monitor insider risk. And you can also contact your sales representative for more information on pricing. For the end user, there is no end user impact on this feature. Rollout pace here, rapid and scheduled release domains. There's a gradual rollout, so up to 15 days feature visibility starting on November the 29th. And availability is available to Google Workspace Enterprise Standard and Enterprise Plus customers. So right at the top level there of availability in Google Workspace, which is kind of why we haven't seen it ourselves, because we don't have customers on that level. But if you do, and you're using Chronicle, then good news for you. So last update is a Google Classroom update. So Google Classroom now supports roster imports from SIS providers. Now, just to sort of pause here quickly. So this is an American terminology, which is SIS, which stands for Student Information System. Here in the UK, we call it a MIS or MIS, which is Management Information System. But it's basically the same thing. It's kind of like a central system that records all of your student and staff and parent information all in one place. So let's have a read of this. Educators can now easily import students from their Student Information System, or SIS, to Google Classroom using OneRoster. This integration saves educators time and helps make class setup much quicker. Well, I completely agree. Any of these integrations are absolutely fantastic. Now, the only problem that we've seen from Google is a lot of this is supporting the American market. Now, great for any Americans, and we know that we have mostly Americans listening to this podcast, so brilliant for you guys, absolutely fantastic. But we don't see a lot of support elsewhere. Now, I'm sure Google have their reasons for doing that. They're probably going to the biggest market, which is obviously going to be America, and kind of looking to support those first. However, this support of OneRoster, I imagine that OneRoster is probably global. We haven't used it ourselves, we haven't come across it ourselves, but I imagine they are probably international. So good that there's going to be support for a more third party there. It's clear that Google have kind of probably looked at all of the SISs in the environment and gone, maybe we don't want to try and support all of those individually. Instead, we'll just go with somebody who already supports those, in this case OneRoster, and use that as a go-between, which makes perfect sense. Now, here in the UK, we actually use Wand. So Strawberry 7 are Wand partners, and we use that with our education clients to enable that connection through something called Google EduSync, which Wand do. If you are interested in having that in your school, you're in the UK, then please do contact us on info@strawberry7.com. We'll be able to help you sort that out. And that is a fantastic integration that allows all of that student import to happen and staff import to happen as well. There's something a bit further with this though. This is great for Google Classroom. That is really, really good. But as I've said before in some of these updates, it really helps with your GDPR compliance, because if you imagine you're syncing your staff and your staff are going into Google and they have access to some sensitive information, then that staff member leaves. There's often a breakdown of communication between the staff member leaving and reporting that, or that being reported within HR, the office, wherever, and it getting to us as IT providers. That doesn't always happen. Now, the advantage of these systems is we don't need to know as IT, because when that staff member leaves, they automatically get suspended off of Google, and then they don't have access to any of that data, or they're not getting any of those push-through events on a calendar, for example. So that really helps reduce that risk on GDPR of data breach or data sort of leak into that area. So it's not just about making it more convenient, it's about helping with regulation compliance as well. You can also, on some of these systems, set sort of automated purges as well after a certain amount of time. So we've just started using that feature in Wand. So it basically says, like, if the staff member has left or been suspended for over a year, then delete them off of the system and purge their data out. Again, really helps with that compliance. So if you are interested in that, then please do contact us. But for this update, if you've got OneRoster or you are thinking about going to OneRoster, then this is going to be brilliant as well, because it's basically going to do the same thing as what we're doing here with Wand. So getting started here, admins, this feature is available for domains connected to a SIS partner, Aspin, Infinite, Campus or Skyward. Now, we have talked about those partners before. To enable a feature, go to classroom.google.com/admin, or you can visit Help Centre to learn more about connecting your classroom to your SIS, and there's a link in there that Adam has put in. End users, if OneRoster is connected by your admin, you can import students by going to People tab, Invite Students, Import from SIS. So that's pretty cool, the way that works. Now, One doesn't work like that. It basically puts all the users in, in the background, so they're all in Google. The end user has no sort of interaction with that. So interesting that Google have chosen to go down that route with this, where the end users as teachers can actually import that information in. You can also visit the Help Centre for more information about using Classroom with your SIS as an end user, and again there's a link in there. Rollout pace here: rapid release and scheduled release domains, extended rollouts, potentially longer than 15 days of feature visibility, starting on November the 28th, with expected completion in January 2024. Availability is available to all Education Plus and Teaching and Learning Upgrade versions of Google Workspace. So again, that makes a lot of sense, only in the education market and available to slightly higher tiers. So as we said before, if any of your schools, if you're an MSP, any of your schools are thinking about going to those higher tiers and they're a bit on the fence, if you've got one roster, maybe this is a chance for you to put that forward to them to go over to that. Okay, and that's it, everybody. That's everything that you need to hear about all of the updates happening in the world of Google Workspace. Remember that this podcast is available in audio format from wherever you cast your pods, and also in video format on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/strawberry7. As always, thank you so much for joining us this week. We'll be back again next Monday with more updates, and hopefully my co-host Adam will be back with us as well. For now, goodbye.